and distinguished guests. It brings me great honor to stand before you on such a memorable occasion as this graduation ceremony, and to congratulate you on your achievement of coming this far and accomplishing what so many have found difficult to do. After all the late hours at school, pulling all-nighters, having to print last-minute projects at the print center, and at the same time as everyone else, we made it. I have to admit that being asked to speak on your behalf was also terrifying, especially when there are so many of us from varied programs, each with our own unique experiences and memories. Trying to come up with something meaningful and something that you would hopefully remember was a challenge, because just like you, I'm ready to start the celebrations. I am a first-generation American, and today I will be the first person in my family to graduate from college. My father came to America as an illegal immigrant in 1981. He had to struggle with living in a place where he felt stigmatized and often did not feel welcomed. The only reason he came to America was to seek work. He had heard that America was a land filled with freedom and opportunity. In 2002, my father became a citizen, and today he lives to see his daughter graduating from the Insitute. Hard work and dedication are the only means in which I have been able to obtain this degree. Thank you, Mom, Daniel, and Dad. Sin el apoyo de ustedes, no estuviera parada aquí. Without your support, I would not be standing here today. I remember my first day at the Art Institute of Houston. It was dreamlike. I was finally in a place where I could be myself and was surrounded by people with similar talents to mine. There was a considerably large amount of student work that caught my attention and made me realize that I was in a place that flourished with creativity. I began my journey here in digital filmmaking and video production, with a purpose in becoming a professional movie editor. Little did I know that the passion that other students had was of a far greater caliber than my serious hobby. So I decided to pursue the fashion retail management program. Throughout my adolescent years, I was teased for not fitting the mold. My height, my weight, the clothes that I wore. I was different, and I knew this. And the purpose of changing my program of study to fashion was to help others change their minds about themselves, to build their confidence, and to use it as a medium to empower others. And that's why we're here. We're here to change people using art, using our talent. I've talked to many of you, and you said that you create to give a voice to art that no one else is fulfilling, that it's liberating, that it's exciting, and that it's a way to express yourselves, because nothing else seems to fill that void. Art involves a constant struggle. We struggle to generate meaning in a changing world. We struggle to express feelings we are unable to say in words. Every one of us can relate to this. Our work speaks for us. Research has consistently linked constraints to creativity. Constraints, whether personal or expressive, play a role in many different creative domains and in many of the most revolutionary creative products of our time. The Art Institute is unique in the way that it adapts to its students. We are able to use the creative realm of our minds to initiate projects that will potentially land us jobs. I know we've all taken our fair share of general education classes, whether it be psychology, social problems, environmental science, learning everything about the superego versus the id, or the infamous correlation versus causation. I remember being in those classes with nothing but graphic design and animation students, and half the time you guys were doodling or sketching, since of course we all say we are visual learners. But something that stood out to me from these sketchings were the themes. Most of them, if not all, were related to what the professors would be talking about. In environmental science, for example, I would see the most incredible sketches of the hydrologic cycle, also known as the water cycle, or the astonishing sketches of cells. I had a friend in that class that got so inspired by our professor's passion for science that he created his logo in class that involved DNA forms and cells. that he later used for his final portfolio and even named it Zagami after our professor's name. The reason that I mention these courses is because it's a prime example of how our professors let us express ourselves. Even through general education classes, they provided us the freedom to develop and shape our styles. As we graduate today, we each will embark on a journey to harness our ability to change the world. Rather than working within the system, changing and evolving the system. As artists, we need to hold to a higher esteem those who think differently rather than those who think alike. To contribute something that is truly revolutionary takes courage. Take Larry Page and Sergey Brin, the founders of Google. Both were studying at Stanford University when they suspended their PhD program in order to continue with the revolutionary invention of Google. They created the #1 search engine that is now used worldwide. Without their determination, Google would not have been created, and I may not have had this information to share with you today. So to master our craft will no doubt take hard work and courage, but that is what makes us stand out. People who are different and that work together end up making a difference in the world. Many of us have met our closest friends during our years here, and now we can share our talents with each other. Graphic design with animators, fashion design with fashion retail, cinematographers with photographers, audio with web. All programs can learn something from one another. Our capacity to unleash our full potential as artists relies on our ability to come to terms with who we are and not who we should be. I think that is what philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche was trying to tell us when he said, "Become who you are." That quote sums up the struggle I've had to face for most of my life. The struggle of becoming who we are is a struggle that many of us face because we are perceived by society as either being different or because we are unable to conform. Society compels us to behave in a certain way, and as a result, many voices remain unheard, drowned out by what is considered mainstream or politically correct. But a way we can change this is by letting go of this ideology. Because if we strive to become this ideal person that society says we should become, we miss out on becoming who we really are. So although there were struggles, I can say the journey was worth it. We have each just walked across the stage. However, our struggles are far from over. Now it's time for us to make our mark on an ever-changing society. So I have a few thoughts to leave with you today. Our world is not shaped by those who think similarly, but by those who dare to think differently. If people call you different, take it as a compliment. It means they notice something about you that no one else seems to have. People who are different are usually the ones who end up making a difference in the world. And remember, never be afraid to stand out. It's better to be remembered for standing out in a crowd than to be forgotten for blending in.